Hi folks, welcome back to the Tabletop's Edge. Now for those of you who have seen other videos on my channel, you'll know that I am an absolute sucker for games that are both big and complicated. I also thoroughly enjoy operational level games where you are maneuvering battalion-sized units across the map. Think something like OCS or BCS from MMP and the Gamers. So when the Grand Operational Simulation Series, or GOSS for short, published by Decision Games, first came on my gaming radar about 2.5 to 3 years ago, it immediately got my attention. As you can see, as of June 2022, there have been 4.5 games published in the, 5 games published in the series so far. And the reason I say 4.5 games is the latest entry in the series actually appeared in a magazine. The World at War issue number 80 from October-November 2021 contains an introductory level GOSS game called Hanut, Tank Action France 1940. Now yes, I know Hanut and the battle the game covers is actually located in Belgium, but that's something we could talk about down the road. The game itself is a one-map game with a single counter sheet and uses a very reduced set of rules in an effort to lower the entry barrier for players who are not familiar with GOSS to be able to get into the system. And I refer to it as half a game, not only because of its size, the single map and single counter sheet making it much smaller than any of the other 4 boxed games released so far, but also because it really does eliminate much of the supply and logistics rules. It also really kind of guts the artillery rules and makes them very much simplified. The rules for the introductory game, I think, are about 16 pages in length compared to, I want to say, 64 pages for the series rules, which doesn't include the exclusive rules for each of the other 4 games. So both in terms of size and complexity, it's about half a GOSS game. Now, to their credit, they did include all of the counters you would need to play Hanut using the full GOSS rules. So the intro game does actually have some value even for experienced GOSS players, and I like that. That was a nice inclusion, I think, in that game. Now, my personal relationship with GOSS over the last 3 years has been very much an on-again, off-again kind of a thing. Driven in part by the complexity of the system, but driven much more so by the rules that were included in those. By I mean rules, I mean rule book. It's not necessarily the game mechanisms or the game design. I actually have seen things in there that really intrigue me, that look really good. There's some very interesting stuff in here, and I think that there's a really great system hidden beneath all of this other junk that is primarily the rule books. Now, to be fair, the latest series rulebook, which was released with Lucky Forward in 2020, is a gigantic step forward, sorry for the pun, from the previous 3 series rulebooks that were found in Wacht am Rhein, Hürtgen Hell's Forest, and Atlantic Wall. So if I were to characterize my relationship with GOSS for the last 3 years in one word, it would be frustration. I say frustration because I really do think, from what I have seen thus far, that there is truly a great system here in GOSS. But the effort to actually learn that system has been incredibly frustrating and far greater than any other game that I have tried to learn. And that includes games like Advanced Squad Leader, World in Flames, the La Bataille series of Napoleonic tactical games. And it's not necessarily because the mechanisms in the game are so tough and complicated. I just think that the rule books have done this series no favors whatsoever. Very disappointed in the rule books thus far, although I will say that they appear to be improving. Still, that doesn't negate the fact that it's been almost 3 years of me working on and off again with GOSS, and I have yet to actually play a single scenario from any of these 5 games. So I'll just let that nugget sink in for a second. And it's not for lack of trying. I have actually set up the first scenario from each of these games. And in a couple of instances, I've actually managed to push some cardboard around a little bit and play through either the first turn or part of the first turn before just packing it up again in a bit of frustration and putting it on a shelf and just putting it out of my mind for a while. However, I think that has finally changed. I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if it's a coincidence that there are now starting to be a few more GOSS-related videos appearing on YouTube, and that having seen these other channels discuss the game, kind of play through the game, talk about learning the rules, that has inspired me to just go ahead and leap in feet first and fully commit to it. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's the fact that the newer rule books really are an improvement over what has come before, but I am committing to getting into this series, and I'm going to get up to speed on this by the end of the summer, that's for sure. Let me show you what I'm working on right now, just sort of in the background. I've got a couple of other series ongoing on the channel that we're going to continue with for sure. That includes the World in Flames tutorial, as well as the Second World War Discovery series. But in the background, I've got this ongoing GOSS project, and I thought I'd kind of share where I am with that with you today, maybe inspiring some of you to take a look at this game or a second look at this system. But that being said, let's see what's on one of the tables. This is Atlantic Wall in all its glory. Now, it's sitting on a table that is 10 feet long by 6 feet wide, just to give you an idea of the scale of this game. And I've had to actually split the map into 2 sections, a northern section and southern section, just so that I could be able to reach everything. Also, when the map is in one piece, it actually doesn't fit on this table, believe it or not. The northern half is located here. You can see the Cotentin Peninsula here, and the landing beaches, and the southern half of the maps are laid out over here with the north side here and the southern edge of the map there. Now, most of the game I anticipate will be played here on this northern half. As you can see, get a little closer look at the map here. Coutances is right here just on the southern edge, and as we continue over here, this is Saint-Lô with Omaha Beach here and Utah Beach there. And as we keep on going further to the east, you will see that Caen is here. So I anticipate that for June and probably most of July, the game will take place almost entirely on this northern portion of the map area. And over here on the southern side of the map, really we'll just be placing some German reinforcements. You can see the city of Alençon is here in the southeastern corner. So not until August do I anticipate much of the game activity moving on to these maps over here, and they'll be coming down from the north primarily. You also probably noticed a number of charts and displays on the table. This is the Commonwealth amphibious display for the initial amphibious landings on the 6th of June. We have the strategic map here, which will track German reinforcements on their way to Normandy, and then several general records tracks over here. This is the game turn track. Back on the other corner of the game table, this is the beach display for the landings, and then we have the U.S. amphibious display here, and then right here is the airborne display. Now, the airborne display, the amphibious displays for both the Commonwealth and U.S. as well as the beach display, they were going to disappear fairly early in gameplay, so I will be freeing up a decent chunk of table space. And to give you a little closer look at the map here, at this point, I have completed the setup for the 6th of June, and I have always been the type when learning a game to just really dive in headfirst to the deep end. We would always, me and my gaming buddies, just always read through the rules and then whip out the campaign scenario and just go at it. Never been one to really enjoy the smaller introductory nature scenarios in there. So since I've committed to learning GOSS, I'm going to really commit to learn GOSS. And we're going to do it by working through this very large campaign scenario for Atlantic Wall. These are the German positions as of the start of the game. And you can see I've got the little KTX markers on all of the German units because the German units are going to activate gradually, and the KTX markers are there to remind me of which units have not yet activated. So as a unit activates, I'll be removing the KTX marker from it and then using it in play. We can see here's Omaha Beach, stretches across 5 hexes here. Just to the west, there's Utah. The Commonwealth beaches are further to the east here. We have Gold Beach there, followed by Juneau, and then finally Sword. Now on each of the amphibious displays, you can see we have arranged all of the assault units as well as the following waves for the 6th of June. On the strategic map, you can see this is kind of a point-to-point map, and it's actually I think there's probably a fairly clever way to reflect the German reinforcement effort into Normandy, because it's also going to include the Allied interdiction efforts. Right now, we just have part of the 21st Panzer here. They are located in the Lisieux area, just to the east of the map here, and they will enter when activated eventually in this area and then push into presumably 6th Airborne's sector here. So I've yet to actually begin the game. Like I said, I've just completed the setup on the American side here. We'll take a look at the amphibious display for them. We have the 1st Infantry and 29th Infantry for Omaha here, and then this section here is 4th Infantry landing on Utah Beach. The beach displays, there are 2 sort of pre-game, they refer to them as modules. There's an airborne module and then the amphibious landing module that actually occur prior to the start of the first game turn on the morning of the 6th of June. The rules for those, actually, I found to be some of the best written sections of the rule books, of any of the GOSS rule books. And I have actually played through the amphibious module previously. Found it to be really a lot of fun and uses some innovative mechanics that I really like. So I may end up showing you kind of how that works, although there are a couple of excellent videos already out there on YouTube where folks walk through those in sort of a playthrough manner. I know Ardwolf's Lair has a really nice one that he runs through using the Vassal module, but I am looking forward to getting a chance to redo the Paradrop invasion again. And then of course the amphibious landing module uses the displays here as well as this large beach display. Read through those rules a couple of times now. They seem pretty straightforward and clear, so I think that that should be enjoyable as well. And that's before we even get to the first turn of the game. So that's kind of where things stand right now with me and the GOSS project. Like I said, this is going to be something that's going to be kind of just going on in the background for however long it takes, but my goal is to have mastered the GOSS rules, not necessarily the strategies and tactics, but have mastered the mechanics and the rules themselves by the time I head up to Winterfest in February 2023, just in case a game of GOSS may be on hand there. So that's going to do it for today. Appreciate you listening to me ramble about GOSS. I will continue to fill you in with my own personal experiences, both positive and negative, with this system as I run through it. One of the big questions I have for myself is GOSS worth it? It's a complicated rule set. There's a lot of work to resolve even a seemingly simple attack. And so the question is all of that effort in gameplay, do you get an enjoyment payoff commensurate with the effort, or is it just more of a drag and a grind? I will be comparing GOSS directly to the Battalion Combat Series in a video at some point in the future, but to make sure it is an informed comparison and a fair comparison, I'm not going to do that until I get a lot more time with the GOSS system and get to the point where I fully understand the rules as well as all of the implications of the rules and how they work together. So we've got that coming down the road, and I, for one, am going to be interested to see whether GOSS can displace BCS as my go-to operational level game. I will tell you right now that BCS has set an extremely high bar for that, because it is, I think, the most playable of the monster games I've ever encountered. GOSS at first glance appears to be at the exact opposite end of that spectrum, but again, time will tell. As I get more comfortable with the rules, I'm sure the game will play faster, and I know there are experienced GOSS players out there who are going to say, no, it's not that bad. You can really start to fly through the combats once you know what you're doing. So we'll see if I get there. But I'll be back at some point in the future with an update on how this is going. Probably will be some point after I've had a chance, or maybe in the middle of running through the airborne procedure. I'm not going to do this as a playthrough like I've done with BCS and WIF. This is going to be more of a, not really even an after action review, but just sort of, hey, here's what's going on in the game. This is what I'm think of the game so far. These are issues I've had. This is what I like. This is what I really don't like. So if you're interested at all in one man's view of GOSS as he learns it from the ground up, stay tuned, because we'll have some more on this in the future. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.